What if you want to learn the sword, but there's no fencing master in your neighborhood? Well, there are two good answers to that question. One of them is obvious, and the other one, not so much. We get this question a lot. Quite often people ask me if I can recommend a teacher in their location, or somewhere reasonably close by anyway. My answer has to be, no, I can't. I don't know everybody who's teaching, and I don't know what they're teaching or how they're teaching it. There are a handful of people I think might be good teachers because I know who their teacher was. But a pedigree is no guarantee. I never vouch for anybody if I haven't personally seen them teach. The best I can do for you is tell you how to evaluate a potential teacher for yourself. Sometimes somebody will send me a link and ask me what I think of this or that fencing club based on their website. In that case, I can sometimes be more helpful. I still can't recommend any of them, but I can sometimes tell you which ones to definitely stay away from. Here's the simple, raw, blunt truth that nobody wants to hear. If your dream is to be a commercial fisherman, you have to go where the fish are. If you live in the middle of the Mojave Desert, you're going to have to go someplace else. Now, you could stay there and hope and pray that somehow, by some miracle, fish are going to come to the Mojave Desert where you can catch them at your convenience. Or you could just whine and pine there longing for your impossible dream. If only there were fish in the desert, what a great fisherman you could be. Now, you may have some very good reasons for living in the Mojave Desert. I don't argue with that. I'm just saying that if you want to be a fisherman, you have to go where there are fish. Well, that's what actors do. They drop everything. They run away to Hollywood to become a star, even though they know there's a good chance they'll end up parking cars or pumping gas. But there's more to it than location, location, location. You need guidance. You need somebody who's been down that road before you, can tell you how to avoid the speed traps and find the best greasy spoons. You need a bodhisattva. Musicians do this all the time. Pick up and go off to study with some great teacher. And that's why people who want to become doctors go to medical school. They don't just play doctor with their friends and hang out a shingle. They don't just read some old medical books. They need someone who can teach them what isn't in the medical books. Very few self-taught brain surgeons out there. It's funny, a lot of people will uproot for a job, but not for a dream. Now, I'm not talking through my hat here. I know what's involved in going out on that high wire without a net. Been there, done that. We were living in Portland, Maine. My lady had a good, well-paying position in her chosen profession. I was taking classes at U of M on the GI Bill, but just chasing my tail. I was thinking maybe law school, but that didn't blow all that much wind into my sails. Now, I've been doing martial arts for over a decade, and I've been fencing for 5 or 6 years when I heard about the academy. So I went out there in June for an interview. I got an acceptance letter in July, and in August we hit the yellow brick road. Didn't know anybody in Ithaca, didn't have any connections, didn't have much of a bankroll to tide us over either. We just knew that we were going to do this and make it work somehow. So that's what we did. And the rest, as they say, is hysterical. My point is this. If the sword is your dream, if it's truly your heart's desire, then nothing will stop you from pursuing it. If you choose not to pursue it, then it's not truly your heart's desire. If it were, it would be impossible for you not to do it. Allow me to cite a different case. Once upon a time, a young lad contacted me about becoming a student. He was ready, willing, and able to dedicate himself to it completely, to do whatever was necessary, to give up whatever he had to give up, to drop everything, uproot, and follow the yellow brick road. We had extensive correspondence about it, during which time I tried my best to discourage him, but he was stalwart. Eventually, I agreed to take him on. He was to touch base with me when he got to town. Long story short, it was a while before he checked in. Okay, I figured he wanted to get squared away first. That's cool. Finally scheduled him for a lesson. He didn't do too badly. He had a couple of flaws in his foundation he'd need to correct, but hell, that's true for most people. It certainly had been true for me. So I gave him the schedule of the classes we had going here and there, and I told him, do as many of these classes as you can possibly get to, and we'll schedule another individual lesson. And that was the last time I saw him or heard from him. We came to refer to him as the Invisible Man. Apparently, he was high-strung, and the traumatic shock of being taught to stand on guard correctly was more than he could bear. I don't mean to be unkind. The reason I mention this is that clearly this turned out to be not what he thought it was going to be. It wasn't really what he wanted. He only wanted to want it, and that proved not enough to sustain him in his hour of need. See, you can't get what you want if you don't know what you want. This brings me to the other answer that I promised you, the one that's not quite so obvious. Now, we've established that the mountain is not going to come to you, Muhammad, and if you can't go to the mountain, what then? Well, climb a different mountain. Why do you want to be a fisherman? Do you like fish? Do you like boats? Do you like the ocean? Or is it the feeling of aliveness it gives you? Out there on the ocean, it's not always warm and sunny with a sea like glass. Shit can happen, and it can happen fast. It's dangerous. And you have to be strong, and you have to be smart, and you have to pay attention. Be alert and aware. Be focused. Be in the moment. In martial arts, we might call that the warrior spirit, to be in the moment, clicking on all cylinders, being really and fully alive. The value of mastering the sword is that the process of cultivating mastery changes you. It doesn't really matter so much what it is you master. It's the how, not the what. The process leads you to a way of doing and a way of being that then manifests itself in everything you do, in all aspects of your life. That's the ideal. Now notice I say the process of cultivating mastery and not achieving mastery, because the process never ends. If you have that warrior spirit, that way of doing and that way of being, then you have it no matter what you're doing. Swinging a sword, planting a garden, building a house, playing the trumpet. There's about 1 million mountains you could climb, and they're all equally good. Pick one that you can get to.